This podcast is proudly brought to you by Paul's Strength Book, an app for everyone. For less than $2 a day, you can have full access to weight training programs, nutrition, recipes, macro calculators, video library, and you can also track all of your metrics including weight, measurements, strength, and performance. Search for Paul's Strength Book in all good app stores now. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Paul's Body Engineering Podcast. I'm sitting here in my office and I thought to myself after a couple of big days of work that I needed to do a solo podcast. You know, last week obviously I did a podcast with my wife, very privileged and happy about that. I've got an amazing guest coming up next week, which I am not going to leak at this point in time, but I'm very excited about. But today I want to talk on a topic that it comes up often, and in this week in particular, it came up a lot, right? And even today, I did a story on my Instagram about it, or in some ways about it, and that is mindset. Now, mindset's obviously very much a broad terminology or a broad word. It can reference a lot of different things within the caliber of how you think and how you behave and how you plan ahead and your demeanor and all sorts of things. But when it comes to health and fitness, mindset's really, really important, and we often don't look at it in ways that we should. Now, what I mean by that is, and I'll use the example this morning in particular. I went to the gym, right, and I was driving there, and I thought to myself, man, I'm really flat today. I'm just, after a big week of work, you tend to be quite fatigued, right, both physically and mentally, and I just wasn't feeling it. And I rolled in, parked the car, and just went, oh God, this is hard. Because every Friday is my leg day. That's just how my program falls. And I like it like that because I don't actually physically go to work. I don't have any face-to-face clients on a Friday. So that allows me a little bit more sleep in the morning, allows me to wake up a little bit fresher so I can tackle a leg day throughout the course of the morning. So I rolled in, parked, and grabbed my bag and went, you know what, this is going to be tough. And straight away I'm on the back foot with the way I think. Then I walked into the reception, said hello to the guys. I know them really well. And, I said to them, oh, God, I'm not into it at the moment. This is going to be a really tough day. They said, what are you training? Legs. Oh, wow. We had that conversation. So, again, there's 2 points where I've put myself on the back foot. So I headed down to the bag rack, placed my bag, grabbed all my gear, headed over to the hack squat, which was my first exercise, put my music on, got into the zone, and just started doing some lighter lifts. I probably warmed up more than usual in terms of getting to my working set. So a couple of lifts with just the machine. Then I added some smaller plates and just slowly but surely built it up. I did some air squats and a few mobility exercises in between just to try and get my legs loose. And by the time I got to my top working set, I had 3 sets of 8 to hit, and I hit PBs on 2 of them. And it was a case of how I was thinking, and it's amazing how this comes up so often where people go, I'm just not in the mood. I'm not motivated. I'm not prepared to obviously push to that limit simply because of the way they're thinking, and I set myself up in that for potential failure because I was constantly thinking to myself, oh, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. And 9 times out of 10, the more you think about something, the more that self-talk or self-dialogue internally is there, it convinces you that that's the case. And that's not only how you're thinking, but that's how you're going to feel as well. If you continually tell yourself that you're flat, you're lethargic, you're fatigued, you're tired, well, guess what? You are going to feel that way. And you're going to constantly feel that way because you're constantly reminding yourself. Okay? That's the narrative within your brain. That's the way things roll. Whereas if you can internally and externally present a united front where you start to get influenced by positivity, by, say, humor, changing the way you think immediately, and you can turn your thought process on a dime. So you can flick that switch quite quickly, and all of a sudden you can generate more energy, more focus, more inspiration, more motivation, and bang, you're in the zone. And that's what happened today. So, we can't always allow ourselves to get into those situations, and 9 times out of 10, we're aware of it. We are aware of how we're thinking, the mood, the demeanor, and it's amazing how people around you can actually feel that way as well because of the energy you're putting out. Like, given that I run and own a personal training studio and I do, 20 odd sessions a week, I can tell as soon as someone walks through that door if they're having a good day or not. The energy, I can just feel it. And I've had clients over the years walk in with horrible energy, and it's my job as their trainer and coach to obviously try and turn that around in a 30-minute session. But sometimes it's really hard because they're so set in their mood, and they've convinced themselves over a period of time that that's the way they need to think, and they dwell on those thinkings, that I can't change them. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a life coach, I'm not a motivational speaker or anything along those lines, even though some of those jobs do fall within the caliber of what we do as a coach. I can't turn them around. So it's really important that you as the individual are aware of the situation, are aware of the way you're thinking, are aware of the self-talk, are aware of how your headspace is, so that you can then influence a change. And when you can influence a change and change that narrative within your self-talk and the self-dialogue, it's amazing what you can accomplish. It really is. And today was a prime example of that. I had one of the best leg sessions I've literally ever had. Out of the 6 exercises I did, I hit PBs on 5 of them. And I was in the zone. It was unreal. I felt really, really good once I got started because of that switch that I flicked. And this applies to everything in life, not just training, everything, but I'll obviously try and keep it along the health and fitness lines. So, when it comes to nutrition, obviously, as a society, we are very much susceptible to being influenced by good marketing, by presentation, by peer pressure, by stress and emotion, by just feeling weak and wanting an escape. And that's when we turn to junk food, that's when we turn to chocolate, that's when we turn to alcohol. Because of those factors, look, I'll put my hand up. I've done it before. I've had crappy weeks, and I've grabbed a 6-pack on the way home because I want to take that edge off. And because I've had a crappy week, I've immediately thought along those lines. Fuck, I just feel shit. I'm feeling flat. You know what will pick me up is 6 beers. Why do I think like that? Honestly, why am I thinking like that? Because that will not fix the problem. The problem is how I'm thinking, not what I need to put in my stomach. And in point of fact, when we break it down, you consume six beers. Yeah, great. You might get a buzz on. You might feel good for a very short period of time. Then you've got the come down, and then you've got to deal with whatever emotion you're tackling anyway when you wake up the next day. So why not tackle it there and then? And the advantage I've got, I think, from most people, and by all means, I say this with the utmost respect to everyone listening. I've got about a 20 to 25 minute drive to and from work every day. So if I've had a crappy day and I'm heading home, I've got 20 to 25 minutes to take an opportunity to bring on some positive self-talk and change the way I'm thinking and change that demeanor. So when I walk through the door, I'm less likely to be abrupt, obnoxious, negative, snappy with my family, and I don't want that. I've done it in the past, and my wife's really, really good at calling me on that because she can identify it, and she doesn't want her kids or our kids to be influenced by that. So, that snaps me out of it. But I've also got the opportunity in that 20 to 25 minute drive to influence myself, to have that positive influence. And it can be done in a number of ways, right? I'll put on a rugby league podcast and listen to that. I'll put on a humorous podcast, which will make me laugh and change my demeanor as well. I'll put on some music that'll amp me up. Like, these things are so simple, yet so incredibly effective. And, that comes down to how you're thinking and the narrative you continually tell yourself. So a lot of self-talk in a positive manner is so important in terms of how you're thinking and how you're acting and how you're behaving on a regular basis. If you're one that consistently says, I'm struggling with a negative mindset at the moment. Well, the fact that you're telling yourself that and you're telling others that, well, of course you're going to believe it because that's what you're portraying. That's what you're advertising. That's how you're selling yourself to others. But you have the power. You have the influence. You have the opportunity to change that and change it quickly, mind you. You can change it very, very quickly by simply allowing yourself to be influenced by others, by your support network, by positivity, the way you think, what you do. And look, we know often the way we think is a derivative of exercise and nutrition, right? We feel good when our bodies feel good. Our mind acts good when our bodies feel good. And how does our body feel good? Through exercise and nutrition. It's a simple calculation, yet we often overlook it because we want those quick fixes. We don't have the patience to work ourselves up. The brain and the mind is a muscle like anything else. And if you don't train it, it'll just wither away and not perform in the way that you want it to. The body's exactly the same. So, talking of training and nutrition, if you constantly have a positive relationship with those elements and continually allow yourself to invest in the fact that you are going to feel good because of nutrition, feel good because of exercise, and know what that does to your body, guess what your existence is going to be like? It's going to be amazing, right? And yes, we're going to have bad days because things pop up. Unexpected circumstances pop up, influences pop up. You might have an argument with a work colleague. You might have a fight with your partner. The kids might be in a shitty mood because they're not aware of how to change their self-talk and their positivity. And that could influence you. It's amazing how your energy and your demeanor can be influenced by others around you. It really can. So, that's why you've probably often seen the quotes, if your circle is filled with toxic people or negative people or people with a lot of negative self-talk, you need to potentially remove yourself from that circle for a period of time to work on yourself. We don't do enough prioritizing when it comes to ourselves. We often leave ourselves to last and look after everyone else, and that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But the mindset, the self-talk, the positivity, this can influence everything you do. If you're running a business and it's struggling at the moment, well, straight away, influence your mindset, influence your ability to change things around. What can you change? Sit back and have a look. Don't just dwell in the fact that it's not doing well. If you continually tell yourself it's not doing well, well, guess what? It's not going to do well, right? Again, that's self-talk. Same with finances. Okay, I've met some people over my time that have the worst relationship with money, and it's all because they constantly tell themselves they have never had money. Oh, I can't afford that. Oh, I don't have any money for that. Oh, I'll have to save up for that. If you continually tell yourself that you don't have money, guess what's going to happen? You're never going to have money. And I've learnt this over the years, Yes, I make a good living, but I've got 3 kids. I've got overheads, cost of living. We all suffer at times, but we always seem to get through. We always seem to manage, and often it's because of the relationship we have with money. And money is energy. We need to make sure that our positivity around it isn't dictated by the fact that we have more or less at any given time. And when you are in, and I love this statement, when you are in a bit of a lackluster state, maybe you just had a crappy day, you're in a mood, you've got tough decisions to make, you don't feel like training, anything like that, I often go back to the point or the statement, what's the worst thing that can happen? If you've got a tough decision, if you've got to jump into a situation where you're out of your comfort zone, there's an element of fear, you're feeling negative, but you've got an opportunity to change that around, what's the worst that's going to happen? If you constantly ask yourself that question and answer it with yourself, the obvious answer is nothing, okay? Nothing is going to happen. All you've got to do is actually action the plan that's in front of you. Take that first step. Dive in to the deep end, head first. There's nothing that should negatively influence you any further if you take a positive step. And I think that's a really strong lesson to learn. So is mindset everything? Absolutely. It plays a significant role in our day-to-day, our week-to-week, our year-to-year. It really does. So it's important to know how to take advantage of that situation. It's important to learn from mistakes. It's important to be able to switch flick your switch from negative to positive. If you can do that more times than not, guess what? Out of a year, out of 12 months, 365 days, you're probably going to have a positive existence, say 360 of them, because you know how to turn yourself around. The other 5 days are probably just shitty days where unforeseen circumstances have popped up beyond your control and you've had to work your way through them. But imagine having a 12-month period or 365 days where 360 of them are amazing, are positive, are you feel energized, you feel great, your training is good, your eating is good, your relationships are good. Imagine that. And it all starts with you and the way you think and the way your mindset is and your self-talk of positivity. Put all those things into place and you can have some significant changes and live an excellent, fulfilling, happy life. I think I'll finish it there. So look, thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it once again. If you're interested in any of my coaching, please jump on my website, have a look around. You're welcome to message me directly as well. I've obviously got a 6-week challenge starting very, very shortly. I have subscription-based programming available as well. That's very affordable. But then there's direct coaching with me for lifestyle coaching as well as contest prep coaching. But if you just have any general questions about an opportunity to work with me, please reach out and let me know. I'm very excited with some of the podcast guests that I have coming up. There's quite a few in the pipeline for the remainder of the year, which should put everybody into a really amazing positive position in terms of how they're thinking and influence by the end of the year, and I'm really looking forward to it. But for now, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please screenshot and tag it on your stories. Tag myself, Paul's Body Engineering, of course. And as I say to every client every single day, have a great day.